Yes, good evening, Akanksha and Anmol. As requested by you, we are going to start with the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Right? Before we start with the poem, let us first learn about the poet. The poet Robert Frost, a very eminent, a very famous poet who was born in March 1874 and he died in January 1963. Robert Frost was an American poet who was much admired for his depictions of the rural life of New England. He was born and brought up in America. He was an American poet, but his parents had shifted to New England. So he had spent the part of his life in New England as well. He was known and he was admired for his command of American colloquial speech. Now, what is colloquial? Colloquial is which is familiar to the people, which is common, right? So, the common day to day informal kind of conversation or the language that the Americans use in their day to day life, this is what he used to add in his writing. So it was easy for readers to understand. And his realistic words portraying ordinary people in everyday situations. In his writings, he would portray very ordinary people from the ordinary life. When you read, you feel, oh, this is happening with us in our daily life. The Road Not Taken, the poem children you are going to read, that is also one such example where you will feel, oh, what the poet is talking about, it does happen with us, right? His work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States. Now, this particular part of his introduction, I will emphasize on it because the poem that he had written, The Road Not Taken, that is the outcome of his this journey. This poem he has written after his work was published in United States. Now try to understand what the story of his life is. So this is very much realistic feeling that he had expressed in his poem, The Road Not Taken. Robert Frost was a poet who had written large number of poems, but when he was in America, he went for publishing his work. He went to the different publishing houses, but his work was rejected. He was very depressed. He wanted to go to England to try his worth. Everyone in America discouraged him. Why? Because Americans would not go for their livelihood to England at that time. This was something very uncommon, very unusual. Americans would not like it. But finally, he had decided, a lot of confusion he had. He had a great dilemma whether to go or not. But finally, he decided that he would go to England. In England, they recognized him and his work. All his work was published. He became a very famous poet there. After earning name, fame, and success in England, he thought to go back to his native state, United States, that is USA, America. He went back to America. This time when he went to America, there also he had got a lot of admiration for his work. Now the same publishers who had initially rejected his work, now they were chasing him and they were welcoming his work. They were admiring. So this is what is the choice that he had made. The poem, The Road Not Taken, is based on making choices. He had two choices, America and England. America did not work, so he had chosen England. Now, England was the choice which was uncommon, which had not been practiced by Americans before, yet he did. And when he went, he got success. Doesn't it happen sometimes, children, when something we are not familiar with, we are doubtful, we are not confident whether we should do this or not. But sometimes the conscience says, go and do it, and we do it. And then we get wonderful results, just as Robert Frost had got. His story we'll discuss in the context of the poem also. I hope it is clear to you about his life, both the girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's
Yes,
wonderful.
ma'am.
All right. Now here is the introduction of the poem, a small introduction of the poem. This poem, The Road Not Taken, is about making choices that decide our future. Now you must be thinking that what kind of choices are these? Okay, so many choices we make in our life. In our everyday, day-to-day life also we make lot many choices. Just imagine it's raining outside. I offer you two choices. One is to eat ice cream. The other is to eat pakoras. Ice cream is your favorite, but pakoras go with the rainy season. So what do you do? What will you do?
Ma'am, we will go with pakoras.
When you say you will go with pakoras, meaning what are you doing this? This is the choice you have made, child, right? This is the choice you have made. Similarly, we have many options in our life where we have to choose one option because we cannot choose all simultaneously. Is that clear? So the road not taken is about making choices because the choices that we make once, they decide our future, they shape our future, they impact our future. In this poem, the road not taken, the road symbolizes the choices. There are two roads, there are two choices, just as I gave you. So the road symbolizes the choices. Road stands for the choice that we make in our life. He describes his feelings about that choice he had left in the past. Poet also had two choices in his life, either to stay in America or to go to England. He has expressed his feeling about the choice that he had left in the past. Which choice he had left in the past? That he left America and he had chosen England. Right? Important message that the poet wants to give us is the choice that we make has an impact on our future, and if we make a wrong choice, we regret it but cannot go back on it. So we have to be very careful while making choices. Why? Just as for example, now you are in class 9. I think you people must have made a choice of language subjects. Have you? Has the school given you the choice of the languages, whether you opt for Hindi or you opt for Sanskrit?
No, ma'am.
Okay, both are compulsory.
Ma'am, no, ma'am. English is compulsory.
English is compulsory, but the other languages, sometimes we are given the choice. Anyway, after 10th, when you go to 11th, again you have to make the choices of the subject, choices of the stream, right? Now look at this. Whatever the stream you choose, you have to choose it very carefully because the stream of your choice will make your future. If you opt for science, of course, you are going into the science stream. If you opt for commerce, then of course you are going into the commerce stream. Your future lies there. And once we have made a choice, we cannot go back onto it. Meaning, if it is wrong choice, then we can only regret. We cannot say anything else because there is no alternative. There is no option at that time, right? Therefore, we must be wise while making choices. This is actually the gist of the poem. Gist of the poem is what I think 8th तक आपके teachers ने बताया होगा, central idea of the poem. I hope it is
Excuse
clear.
me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, symbiosis means?
Symbolizes. Symbolizes means symbol. Symbol meaning it is, what is it standing for? The road here represents the choice. In the poem, when we say that there were two roads, right? By mentioning, by referring to the two roads, by mentioning two roads, the poet wants to refer to the two choices that we have in life, two options that we have in life. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
You see that what it is, I tell you, I'll show you the picture also. You see what happens, you are going somewhere. At one particular point, the road you are walking on, it divides into two roads, right? Now your destination lies on which road you don't know. So there at that very point, you are confused. Which road to take? Then you analyze, you look down one or the other road to decide which road to take. Is that clear? So it is just like the choices, we have two choices, and how we analyze those choices, we discuss. We discuss with people. Now, who are the people with whom you discuss the choices? किसके साथ आपको कुछ चॉइस करना होता है तो आप किसके साथ डिस्कस करते हैं?
Parents.
Good.
Ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
मैम पेरेंट्स के साथ.
खाली पेरेंट्स के साथ करते हैं? फ्रेंड्स के
मैम फ्रेंड्स के साथ भी करते हैं.
राइट. और ब्रदर सिस्टर्स के
Yes,
साथ भी
ma'am.
करते हैं?
फ्रेंड्स के साथ.
ब्रदर
Yes, ma'am.
सिस्टर्स के साथ भी करते हैं, टीचर्स के साथ भी करते हैं, राइट? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now here is the summary of the poem, right? Just to give you an outline of the poem. After that, we will have stanza-wise explanation. All right? Yes, sorry. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost describes how the poet struggles to choose among two roads, diverged in the yellow woods on an autumn morning. So the poet here describes how he had to struggle, how he had to fight among two roads when he was walking in yellow woods, yellow meaning autumn season. In autumn season, he was going through the forest one morning. He came across a point where there were two roads. So he had to make a choice. The poet, while traveling on foot in the woods, comes to a fork point where his path diverges into two roads and he has to choose one of them. अब दो रोड्स पर इकट्ठा तो आप ट्रेवल नहीं कर सकते हैं ना, राइट? तो आपको एक ही चूज करना पड़ेगा. ठीक उसी तरह से हमारी लाइफ में भी हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस आते हैं, बहुत सारे अल्टरनेटिव्स आते हैं, बट वी कैन पिक ओनली वन. हमें एक ही चूज करना पड़ता है क्योंकि हम सब इकट्ठे चूज नहीं कर सकते हैं. जस्ट एज फॉर एग्जाम्पल 11th में आपको सब्जेक्ट का चॉइस होगा, आप ये नहीं कर सकते कि आप साइंस भी ले लें, कॉमर्स भी ले लें. साइंस विद मैथ्स तो ले सकते हैं, मैथ्स इज कॉमन, इंग्लिश इज कॉमन, लेकिन साइंस के साथ आप अकाउंटेंसी तो नहीं ले सकते हैं, राइट, वो भी ऑप्शन है आपके पास, ये भी ऑप्शन है, तो आपको एक चूज करना है, या साइंस चूज करना है, या आर्ट्स चूज करना है, या कॉमर्स चूज करना है, या आपको फैशन डिजाइनिंग चूज करना है, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. Right? So this is what the poet has tried to say in the poem. Now the poet is in a dilemma. This word you should remember. Dilemma meaning the poet is confused. Dilemma, कोई अगर dilemma में होता है तो उसका मतलब क्या है कि वो confused है, decide नहीं कर पा रहा है कि क्या करें क्या नहीं करें. Right? Now the poet is in a dilemma. Which road he should take to continue his journey? अब आगे पोएट को आगे जर्नी तो कंटिन्यू करनी है, वहां रुकना नहीं है, बट ही इज अनएबल टू डिसाइड कि कौन सी रोड पर मैं जाऊं, फर्स्ट रोड पर जाऊं या सेकंड रोड पर जाऊं. ही स्टैंड्स देयर फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम लुकिंग एट वन ऑफ द रोड्स. वो एक रोड जो है उसको एनालाइज करता है, ध्यान से देखता है. ही फाइंड्स दिस रोड एज बीटन ट्रैक. He finds the road as a beaten track. He finds कि ये रोड तो अच्छी खासी यूज हुई है, लोग पहले इस पर जा चुके हैं. Many people had traveled on it. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये रास्ता यूज नहीं होता, काफी लोग यूज करते हैं. How do you come to know that a particular road is being used by the people? Yes, children, do you have an idea? कैसे पता चलता है आपको कि ये रोड काफी लोग. हाँ हाँ,
मैम वहाँ पे टायर के निशान होते हैं, गड्ढे हुए होते हैं बहुत से.
राइट, उसके ऊपर निशान बन जाते हैं, तो उससे पता चलता है हमें. गुड. It was dissolved with, many people had traveled on it. It was dissolved with dense bushes and plants and nothing was visible beyond it. एक पॉइंट तक पोएट ने देखा, जहां तक पोएट देख सकते थे उन्होंने देखा, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट पॉइंट he found कि एक बेंड है, एक टर्न आता है, और वहां सिर्फ बुशेस और प्लांट्स ही दिखाई देते हैं. The poet looks at the other road. अब दूसरी रोड पोएट देखते हैं. What he finds, which was grassy and seemed less traveled. अब जब सेकंड रोड देखते हैं तो it was grassy. Grassy meaning it was covered with grass. It was covered with grass. What does it mean? Why do you think it was covered with grass? ग्रास से
मैम उस रोड पे कोई वहाँ पे ज्यादा कोई लोग गए नहीं होंगे ना, इसलिए वहाँ पे ग्रास हो रही होगी. अगर लोग जाते तो वहाँ पे निशान पड़े होते.
Yes, correct. Akanksha, you said something, beta?
Yes ma'am, मैं भी यही कहना चाहती थी.
Good. So you got it, right? So the reason is it was covered with grass because it was not traveled by the people, or it was less traveled by the people. कभी आप पार्क, अपने नेबरहुड पार्क में भी आप नोट करिए, एक तो पार्क के ऊपर एक पेवमेंट बना होता है जिसमें हम चलते हैं, कई बार लोग बीच में से भी पार्क के क्रॉस करके उस पर निशान बनाकर अपने आप एक रास्ता क्रिएट कर देते हैं. Isn't it? वहां पर ग्रास कम होती है और बाकी जगह पर ग्रास बहुत ज्यादा होती है क्योंकि वहां लोग उसके ऊपर चलते नहीं है. Fine. So this is how he found the second road. It was covered with grass because it was not as much used as was used the first one. Being adventurous by nature, he chooses the other route. Poet Robert Frost, he was adventurous by nature, so he chooses the other route. उनको लगा कि दूसरी रोड जो है इस पर इतने ज्यादा लोग नहीं गए हैं, ऐसा क्यों है, मैं इसी के ऊपर चल के देखता हूँ. Because he wanted to take risk, उनको रिस्क लेने का शौक था, and leaves the first one for some other day, knowing fully well that he will not get a chance to go back to it. उन्होंने सोचा कि मैं पहली वाली को छोड़ देता हूँ, फिर कभी देखेंगे फ्यूचर में. Though he knew well, उनको मालूम था कि एक बार जो डिसाइड कर लिया उसके बाद he will not get a chance to go back to it, meaning he cannot change his decision. एक बार डिसाइड कर लिया तो उसके बाद डिसीजन चेंज करना पॉसिबल नहीं होता है. Right? The poet feels that this choice will make all the difference in his future life. Why he thought to take the second road? उनको लगा कि second road पर जाने से मेरी life will be entirely different. कुछ ना कुछ तो life में meaningful जरूर होगा. That also shows that the poet was very optimistic. Optimistic मतलब positive, जिसकी positive approach होती है. Later the poet wishes that he had taken the road he left. और उसके बाद क्या हुआ, जब पोएट को फेम मिल गई इंग्लैंड में. अब सेकंड रोड पोएट की कौन सी थी? व्हेन ही वेंट टू इंग्लैंड. इसको हम उनकी रियल लाइफ के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं, राइट. हिज गोइंग टू इंग्लैंड वाज द सेकंड रोड, दैट ही हैड चोजन द सेकंड रोड. व्हेन ही earned success in England, then later the poet wishes that he had taken the road he left. बाद में उनको लगा कि अब मुझे अमेरिका जाना चाहिए. अमेरिका was the first choice, sorry, the first road. So he thought he should have gone to the first road. पर अब थोड़ा सा मुश्किल था, लेकिन क्योंकि वो अपनी उनकी कंट्री थी तो he went back. But actual success he got in England. So what difference had it made in his life that he became successful? And which choice made him successful?
Second choice.
Second choice. Second choice. Second choice for? Second choice for England or America?
England.
England, yes, it is England, right? We cannot go through all the roads available to us, no matter whatsoever we may wish to. So the point here is the poet has tried to bring out the idea, हमारे पास कितनी भी roads क्यों ना available हो, यानी कि हमारे पास कितनी भी options क्यों ना हो, लेकिन हम at a time एक को ही opt कर सकते हैं. हम at a time एक ही ट्रेन में बैठ के जा सकते हैं, एक ही फ्लाइट में जा सकते हैं, एक ही रोड पर एट अ टाइम ट्रेवल कर सकते हैं, चाहे हमारे पास कितनी ही ऑप्शंस क्यों ना हो. I hope you understand the idea. The poet now feels that after ages from now, he would be looking back at this decision with a sigh. The poet feels that after ages, future में, he feels that in future, he would just remember this decision. He might regret, हो सकता है कि poet को regret भी करना पड़े, but at that time, he would not regret, but with a sigh, meaning with a deep breath, he would be telling that since he had taken the less traveled road, it made all the difference in his life. Poet will say that he had taken up the second choice, the second road, an uncommon choice he had made, the less traveled road he had walked on, and that has made all the difference in his life, meaning whatever he has become today, it's all because of his choice for something uncommon. Right? Why he did this, that you will read later when we take up the stanza explanation. Okay, there are many examples who have traveled on the second road and it had made difference in their life. In this way, the poet talks about one of the common problems of human life. What problem? The problem of making the right choice when we have many options. क्या प्रॉब्लम है ह्यूमन लाइफ की? जब हमारे पास बहुत सारी ऑप्शंस होती हैं, जब हमारे पास ऑप्शंस नहीं होती तब भी हम परेशान होते हैं, और जब बहुत सारी ऑप्शंस होती हैं तो हम ज्यादा परेशान होते हैं, बिकॉज इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट टू चूज वन. We come across many options or choices in our life, but we cannot take up all the choices at a time. सारी choices हम इकट्ठी नहीं ले सकते हैं, हमें एक ही लेनी पड़ती है. Neither can we alter the decision once made by us. Once we have decided something in our life, it is difficult to change. Therefore, it is important to make a right choice because our future is heavily dependent on it. If we fail to make a right decision, our life would be full of miseries. But if we make a right choice, we would be successful. So basically what it is that we have to make right choices. I hope it is clear, children.
Ma'am, I have a
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
हाँ जी बोलो बेटे.
Ma'am, full of mysteries मतलब?
Full of miseries meaning full of difficulties, full of challenges, full of hardships. Right? Shall we go to the next? Yes. Now, when you start reading the poem, you will come across some words, right? In the first column, here are given the meanings. In the second column are given the words. I would like you first to identify that these meanings are matching with which words. It will help you in understanding the poem. Yes, the first one is here. Which word says to separate and go in different direction? Yes, you can keep the poem with you. You must be having a book with you. Just go through it. You can easily find out. To separate and go in different direction is diverge. Two roads diverge, divided, going into two different directions, right? A mass of bushes and plants that grow close together under trees in woods and forests.
Undergrowth.
Undergrowth, very good. A statement that something is true, although it has not been proved. Although it
Sigh.
is, yes, no, not sigh.
Doubted. I think doubted, yeah.
No, child, this is claim. This is claim, right? To the same degree, in the same or in the similar manner.
Ma'am, equally.
Equally.
Equally, exactly, equally. Put down or press the foot. Place the foot.
Ma'am, trodden.
Trodden. It is trodden, okay? Feeling
Yes.
of uncertainty about something.
Doubted.
Very good. Doubted. Good going, children. To take and then let out a long breath that can be heard to show you are sad or disappointed or tired, etc.
Ma'am, doubt.
No, doubted. Anmol has just
Sigh.
told. Sigh. It is
Sigh.
sigh. Yes. Sigh meaning to take a deep breath. Right?
Yes.
Okay. A very long time.
Ages.
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 Ages. So, good done, all of you. Right. Now here we start with the, the stanza-wise explanation. This is stanza 1. Now read carefully, listen carefully, and if you do not understand anything, you will interrupt me and ask me. All right? It's a very good poem. If you are able to understand, then it means you are going to do wonders. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Here in the first stanza, first of all, two roads diverged. Diverged, you just read. Can you see these two roads? Right? One road is going to my right, the other is going to my left. Can you see a man here in the picture walking on the road?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
Okay. On this road, there are leaves, but very few. And this road is covered with lot many leaves. All right? Yellow wood. Wood meaning forest. And yellow because this is autumn season. Autumn season is पतझड़ का मौसम होता है ना, उसमें पत्ते पीले होते हैं और झड़ते हैं, right? So this is the picture of autumn season. In it was autumn season, the poet was walking through the forest, right? He came at a fork point, sorry. Yes, he comes at a fork point. ये वाला point जहाँ पर ये road जिस पे he was traveling, it got divided into two roads, right? And he is confused here. He said two roads diverged in a yellow wood. It was once that he was going through, he was walking in a forest in autumn season. And the road he was walking on, he comes at one point that is called fork point, middle point, जहाँ से the road was leading to two roads. And sorry, I could not travel both. The poet says sorry. Why he says sorry? Because this shows that he wanted to travel on both the roads. But do you think he could travel on both the roads?
No.
No, he could not. So this is what he is expressing, that he wanted to travel on both the roads, but unfortunately, he cannot travel on both the roads at the same time. He was not aware of what happens if he walks on one road or the other, right? So he is regretting, he is sorry that he is unable to travel on both the roads, though he wanted to travel and be one traveler. He was alone, he was a solo traveler. There was no companion with him. He had no companion, he had no one with him, he had no fellow traveler, he was all alone. So he had to find out about the road, where this road would take him to. Look at this, children. In our real life also it happens the same. जब हम अपनी लाइफ के चॉइसेस लेते हैं, जब हम अपनी लाइफ के ऑप्शंस डिसाइड करते हैं, तो वो हमें खुद डिसाइड करना होता है. वो हमारी ही लाइफ होती है. उसमें हमें ये देखना होता है कि हमारी लाइफ को वो कैसे इम्पैक्ट करता है. Similarly, the poet is a solo traveler. He has to decide single-handedly which road he should take. So what he does, long I stood. He kept on standing here at the fork point for long and looked down. Looked down, he looked at the first road. Sorry, he looked at the first road. He kept on looking at it. Looking down meaning he was analyzing. उस रोड को वो स्टडी कर रहा था, उसको अच्छी तरह से सर्वे कर रहा था कि क्या होगा अगर मैं इस रोड पर ट्रेवल करता हूं तो. Then he kept on looking, he kept on analyzing the road as far as he could see. जहां तक उसकी नजर पड़ती थी, वो उसने वहां तक उसको देखा. To where it bent in the undergrowth. एक पॉइंट के बाद he could not see the road because it was covered with the undergrowth. Undergrowth meaning with vegetations like shrubs, hedges, small plants, bushes, etc. जो झाड़ियां वाड़ियां थी उनमें वो रोड टर्न करती है, उसके बाद सिवाय झाड़ियों के वो कुछ नहीं देख पाता. So when he says long I stood, काफी देर तक वो खड़े होके उसको सर्वे करता है, देखता है. Don't we do in our life also, children? When we have to make a choice, we take time. We take time to make a choice. We take time to decide. Why we take time and how we take that time? We think, we search, we discover, we discuss with many people around us, and then we take a decision. So this is what he was taking time, right? Now here is a small expression of this poem that I have written. The poet walks in the forest on an autumn morning. He comes to a fork point which is leading to two different paths. He regrets or he feels sorry that he cannot walk on both the roads being one individual. Therefore, he stands in the middle and analyzes the road as he is in a dilemma. क्यों वो एक रोड को देखता है, उसको सर्वे करता है? Why? Because he is confused. He is in a dilemma. He is unable to decide. He is regretting also. Why? Because he is unable to decide which road to take. He looks down one road till where he can see a bend that dissolves with the undergrowth. It happens in our life also. When we have choices, we have options, but we have to choose only one. जो फोक पॉइंट पर उसके पास दो रोड्स आई and he has to make choice. Similarly, we also have that focal point in our life also. What is that focal point in our life? That focal point in our life is that situation, that moment, that time when we have to decide. We have so many options and we have to decide which one to take. But we cannot have all these together. We just want to have, we can have only one. And then we take time to decide. When he says we take time to decide, meaning don't take decisions promptly. Are you getting this? एकदम से बिना सोचे समझे आपको decision नहीं लेना है. When the poet says long I stood, meaning he took time. Why he took time? Because he wanted to make a wise choice. Here also he says we take time to decide. Why we take time to decide? Because we want to make a wise choice. अगर गलत choice बना दिया तो it would be our failure. It would be disastrous. It would be full of difficulties and challenges for us. Whereas any choice we make, that is for our success. That is for the betterment. That we get benefited, we get advantages. I hope it is clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Now, in each stanza, there are poetic devices also. Poetic devices I will discuss with you after the poem is finished. Is that clear? If there is any problem in this stanza? No problem?
No problem, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Anything else if you want to ask, you can. The remaining 3 stanzas we will take up tomorrow. Tomorrow again at 3:30, I'll send you the Zoom link. All right?
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.